Welcome back, and enjoy my second chapter. It's called How Love Succeeds. It is not only in our modern age that the idea of romantic love is widespread. Almost all operas and operettas, plays and novels speak of nothing else. Today's movies, and especially almost all song lyrics, deal with happy, romantic, disappointed, or lost love. A love where the intoxicating feeling of falling in love for the first time is supposed to be a normal state for eternity. A happy ending in the movies usually means that they get each other, then the story usually ends, and leaves the moviegoer or reader with a good feeling. As a rule, little is revealed about what happens next. The basic idea that love strikes like lightning, that it falls from the sky in a happy moment, is not that old. In the past, there was no such thing as a love match. The partners had to get used to each other, and economic or status reasons often played an important role in a marriage. Around 250 years ago, the time began when partners were allowed to choose where a couple could follow their love. Even then, however, people became entangled in the web of the couple's relationship until disappointment and anger began to gnaw away at the good feelings. Separation was not an option back then, because what God has joined together, man should not separate. If he did, however, he was certain of social ostracism for life. We know enough famous couples from literature who resigned themselves to a bad marriage or who reacted with secret relationships. Fortunately, the thought of separation is no longer punished as dramatically as it was back then, but even today, separation is generally not the solution. Because wherever we go, we will take the problem of the old relationship with us and revive it in a new partnership in a modified form. Apparently, happiness or unhappiness in partnerships and relationships seems to follow certain laws. As the famous Russian writer Leo Tolstoy said over 150 years ago, "All happy families are alike. Every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way." This sentence is also known as the Anna Karenina principle, from the novel Leo Tolstoy, Anna Karenina. It can be applied very well to couples of that time and, without modification, to couples of today. Anna, a noble young woman of the Russian upper class, left her marriage and followed the love of her life. She was rejected by society as a result. But even with this great love, things did not go well in the long run. The basic principles of why couples remain happy or become unhappy and dissatisfied after falling in love have changed little to this day. So how do you stay happy? How can you prevent what seemed so easy at the beginning from becoming difficult over the years? The answer is simple. Love is not just a feeling that comes over you in the first phase of falling in love. It is also a decision. Not only the decision to take care of this love, but above all to get to know the traps that most people stumble into without realizing it. And these traps have to do with ourselves. In modern literature, you often find the suggestion that at some point, assuming goodwill for the other person and for the relationship, the difficulties will go away. And that is precisely not true. Because when feelings such as disappointment, anger, powerlessness, and hurt arise for the first time, they don't go away by themselves. And neither does negotiating with your partner about what they should change. This is because the reason for the problems usually lies in an entanglement with our own issues. We simply replay them on the stage of our relationship. The good news is there are solutions. And that's exactly what this book is about. Chapter by chapter, it describes the invisible pitfalls that can insidiously cloud love. Traps that can be avoided if you know about them. If we know what to do, we can actually solve partner problems on our own. Initially, we don't need anyone else for this, not even our partner. We should also cherish and nurture our love. Here are a few examples of pitfalls in love. One point is our beliefs about ourselves and about the world. These beliefs are often served by our partner or even colleagues. This means that without realizing it, they behave in a way that confirms our beliefs. We may believe about ourselves that we are not important. Are we surprised that our partner gives us exactly this feeling? I wonder what they think. You'll find out later in the video about the mirror. Excluded parts of life are also potential pitfalls. For example, the right to be lazy or to enjoyment or sex. Our partner willingly gives us these excluded parts. He may be lazy himself so that it bothers us, may not contribute to the housework, or may be sexually demanding or even assaultive. Again, without realizing it, he shows us his own excluded part in an unpleasantly distorted form so that we should please notice it. We talk about this in the shadow chapter. Old painful experiences of our own, usually from childhood, which we reenact in the relationship without realizing it, can also become a problem. The old bad feelings from back then feel so familiar that we magically find a partner who brings the old play from back then onto the relationship stage with us. Replaying old painful experiences in the relationship or at work is actually intended to heal the old wound from back then. However, as the vast majority of people don't know about this, the wound only gets bigger and it may even lead to a breakup. We talk about this in the chapter Sound of Childhood. In addition to the common pitfalls mentioned so far, there is also the fact that even the greatest love cannot read minds, so we have to talk. We should also not confuse our own experience with that of our partner. We talk about this in the communication chapter. Sometimes we also construct situations in our partnership that are unpleasant or that become unpleasant, but that we benefit from. A trap that we build for ourselves without realizing it. Perhaps you start an argument that ends with your partner disappearing in a huff for a while, and you actually just wanted this time alone but didn't dare to ask for it? Or do you, as a woman, take the position of the sweet girl towards your partner? The sweet girl who has already received attention from her father as a result, and you're surprised that your partner behaves like your father did back then? Or, as a man, do you confuse your partner with your mom and expect the same kind of care and attention? And are you disappointed when this is not the case? And that your mom doesn't get on with your wife? We talk about this in the chapter What's in It for You? When we fall into such traps, we are disappointed that things in the relationship are obviously no better than they used to be, and the wounds that we have brought into the relationship become deeper. From my decades of experience with couples, I think the demand "you have to change" is useless. Only if we change ourselves can we unblock our blockages and thus undo the knots in our relationships. And this is less about our actions and more about our being, how we feel about ourselves and our past. If we can recognize these dynamics, the partnership, and therefore the partner, will change by itself. Falling in love leads us to where our soul promises solutions for our own issues and for inner healing. Oscar Holzberg says it so beautifully. Falling in love doesn't lead to Mr. Right, but to Mr. Important. We are allowed to grow through our own change. And without our partner, we would never have faced our own issues. But change doesn't come for free. It takes courage to mentally move in a new direction on your own, and it takes a strong decision to implement things that we have recognized and to change ourselves. With the help of the following chapters, you will get to know yourself and your relationship better, and you will find solutions. Then love can succeed again.